Hey everyone, it's Sean Carline from the Let's Talk Shit Show. Today, my special guest is Kylie Carrasco from
Arizona.
Yes,
sir.
And from Glove Girls.
Yes.
And Hard Hat Honey Media.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm
it's an
super excited to be here.
Honor and pleasure to have you here. And what brings you down this way?
So we've come to the What Show for several years. I've had a booth the last 2 years.
Yep.
And we decided this year, it's a lot of money. And so for Glove Girls, I've always had a booth. And so I decided this year to kind of come and, see my friends. I have a lot of friends. I think they're my dad's friends, but I've made them my friends. And so I just wanted to come and enjoy it and be able to promote my company without having to spend the, 10 grand to be here and get a booth. It's crazy, And,
it's a lot.
And that was for like a little 10 by 10 booth, back in the corner where nobody came,
Yep.
And so that part kind of sucked. So we just decided that this year just to kind of lay it low, but still come. We still love to come and enjoy it.
And what inspired you in the beginning to even pursue Glove Girls?
So I graduated high school in 2022.
Okay.
And I had an opportunity in high school. I always wanted to be a veterinarian my whole life. That was my dream job.
Yep.
And so I actually was able to get my veterinary assistant license in high school.
Oh, wow.
And I learned real quick that that's not what I wanted to do in life. There's a lot to go into that, and I was not cut out for it.
Right.
And so in 2022, I graduated, and all my best friends went to college. And so my parents kind of gave me the summer to hang out and be a teenager for the last summer, Well, then summer came to a close, and I was like, oh, crap. My life is starting, And so I kind of worked for my dad for a little bit, and we kind of bounced the ideas off. He's like, look, if you don't go to college, I'll help you start a company.
Oh, I love it.
And so for about 6 months, we bounced all these ideas off, and we were like, that's boring. Everyone's doing a boutique, nowadays. So we're like,
Yep.
So he comes into my room, and if you know my dad, he comes in with this smile on his face, his wheels are spinning. And I'm like, oh boy, what's he gonna say now? And he's like, you should sell gloves. And I was 18. I'm like, what do you mean gloves? That's such a random thing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he kind of started telling me why. And he's like, but you're gonna do the research. So I spent about probably 2 months, looking at the logistics, looking at margins, getting prices on different things, and it kind of came together. And I was like, okay, you know what? It's not a bad idea. Let's try it.
Right.
So we kind of took a whim, and we bought a whole shipping container worth of gloves, which is 7,000 gloves.
A shipping container? Oh
yeah.
My God, that's
which a lot of people, 7,000 took up my dad's whole warehouse. His warehouse manager, Roger, about had a heart attack. Roger, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But, because, it did. So then we were like, okay, now we have to do something with all these gloves.
Right.
So we moved them into our garage. Well, we live in Arizona. It's 115 degrees. So in my garage, it's 130 degrees.
Whew.
So I'm packaging these gloves, and I got them in July of 2023.
Yeah.
And so, I got them right in the peak of summer. And I was like, this is never going to work. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die of heat stroke in this place. But we couldn't afford to get a place to store them, and we were brand new. And, at the time when we bought the gloves, it took about 2 months for them to get here, and we didn't have a name yet. We just kind of bought them, and we're like, let's do it. Well, for us, 95% of, any trades industry is men. And so we wanted to tailor it more towards the ladies, Although our gloves are not used primarily by ladies, we wanted it to be kind of different.
Yep.
So we bounced off names, and eventually Glove Girls came to life. And I get it all the time. They're like, Glove Girls, because it's girls. You don't ever hear girls in the industry as much. Now, I don't do plumbing.
Yeah.
I don't do plumbing, but I know a lot about plumbing. I can go to a job and be like, I don't know if that's right, but I'm not going to say anything, because I'm not the plumber. I've been plumbing for 10 years, but I have seen it all, and so that's kind of how it started, was just off of a whim, and now we're here.
That's incredible, and thank you for sharing that story. It's very inspirational because, I have 3 kids myself.
Okay, yeah.
So my company back home is DLK Septic Services Inc. in Ontario, Canada, and Drew, Luke, and Kate.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
So Drew's my oldest right now. He's coming out of high school, and there was this big debate going on whether to go to business school, start a business, all this stuff. And I was like, I was pro go to work and let's get you set up doing a business. And I would love to hear, was there a point where you had to make the decision? Is the school route am I cut out for that?
Absolutely.
Is that the thing I want to do, or do you want to be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I think it depends on the person. I have a best friend that she's going to be a physical therapist. Yep. You have to go to school for that. You got to go to school. I hope you would go to school for that at least. You have to go. For me, I didn't have a path unless I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Yes.
Which I decided I didn't. That was not my path in life. And, you know, I believe if you are going to be a doctor, an engineer, something, you have to go to school for that, obviously. Yep. But for me, I wouldn't have done probably well in college just because I wasn't a school person.
Yep.
So it would have been pointless in general.
Yep.
And so I believe that if you're going for a certain thing, absolutely college is your route. But for me, I think entrepreneurship is the way to go. You know, I think that's kind of, you have to have the drive though.
Yes.
You know, like I think in my generation, I've learned a lot about that. And the kids my age, you know, they don't have that drive. And so if you don't have that, then you should probably go to college,
yep.
you know, and go on that path. But for me, I had that drive from my dad. You know, my dad does own a successful plumbing company.
That's incredible.
And so, and you know, and my mom, but she's kind of behind the scenes sometimes. And so I had that drive and I had that support. I think support is huge too, but it's all in God's plan. You know, if you want to do something that does entail college, then
yep.
absolutely. But for me, that just wasn't it. And I think entrepreneurship is the way to go.
I love it, and congratulations for having the
Thank
courage
you.
and strength to do that. Because it, you know, you would have saw it. I would imagine growing up with your parents, what it takes to be an entrepreneur, the highs and lows of going through thing, and you know, you're gonna have such an advantage over others by witnessing, seeing that, and getting the wisdom passed over to you to apply it to your craft. And you know, you're gonna kick ass. I know it.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
What's your goal? Like, where do you see this going? What do you want to do?
So, you know, with Glove Girls, you know, just keeping our main goal when we started Glove Girls,
yep.
well, the whole reason was it was kind of during COVID.
Yep.
And, you know, our competitors were selling gloves at $30 a box.
Oh, yeah.
You throw them away,
yep.
you know, and it was pointless. So our goal is kind of to keep that, and, you know, real life, you know, we did have to up our prices, and we upped them $1. You know, shipping killed us. So when I first started Glove Girls, shipping was like, I could ship to Minnesota from Arizona for $20.
Oh, wow.
It now almost costs me $45. And they'll charge me for weather delays or things, you know, like things out of my control. That's the biggest thing. You know, it's all these things out of my control. So I upped it $1 on each box. You know, I'm like, I don't want it to like get more money out of
mm-hmm.
it. I just need to, you know, fix my margins a little bit and see. I needed to go back to what I was making before, and so we did up it $1. You know, that's the real life of it. And for that, that's my goal though. I want to keep it the cheapest, you know, and I might not be the cheapest, but I'm here for you. You know, I'm not here to make millions of dollars,
yep.
you know, off of these gloves. I want to do it for them. And then, you know, I'm kind of going into the media company side because marketing's huge right now.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah,
How's that
so
going?
I do professional videography and photography
yep.
for plumbing companies specifically.
Oh, wow.
In the Valley, I do a couple of them. I always started with my dad. That's what I originally did. And now I've kind of expanded to do other companies. And plumbing's kind of my little niche because I know so much about plumbing. I can go in and I can, you know, tell them what to say because I know what to say. Rather, if I go to an AC company, I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And you can always learn. That's my biggest thing. I go to these job sites and I video and I'm asking a million questions, you know. Why did you do that? And they might get annoyed with me because I'm like a little kid. But I learned so much by just going and asking. And so my thing is social media is huge now. Social media is 100% the way life is going, you know, especially with marketing. But a marketing company per se, the market's oversaturated with them. Mm-hmm. There's hundreds of them. I mean, there's hundreds sitting here, you know, in booths. And so what I do is I give the marketing company what they need to be able to market your company, scale your company, grow your company.
Right.
Rather than, you know, taking pictures that you got taken 6 years ago, you know, and it's the same 5 pictures, using them over and over again. Yeah. You know, I come in monthly and I do videos and I do pictures for them. Yep. I have different kind of packages and based off of, you know, small companies, large companies on how much they can pay, you know, absolutely. And I'm there for them again too. So like you know, my dad's best friend, I call him my uncle. He owns a plumbing company. You know, I give him a discount because I'm like, I'm here for you. I want to see you succeed just as much as my dad. And so I go out there for cheaper than I would someone else. Don't tell anybody. But because I want to see them succeed. Yeah. And social media is the way that's going.
Absolutely. And, you know, big shout out to the Pixel A crew that's down here. Unfortunately, the owner, Abdullah, is, I think he's in Lebanon right now doing charity work where he's feeding families right now. And so his whole team came on board a couple of months ago, and I literally pulled this out of my ass in December, and I said, I'm coming on the What convention. I want to start. I want to just launch a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, but let's fucking do this right. Let's go big or go home.
Yeah, you got to go big or home. I totally agree.
Yeah, and like having the right people supporting you makes you successful, and these guys have really blown up my, like, I did 4 podcasts prior to coming down here.
Yeah.
And like one of the shorts that they put out like 5 or 6 days ago, now it's at like 67,000 views on this particular one, right?
That's awesome.
That's amazing. So, and I've been able, because of people in that industry, to get that exposure of what the message is that I'm carrying is in the Let's Talk Shit show. It's like, it's having real life people like yourself on the show, you know, your biggest wins and losses, struggles that you might have had, and then talking this, you know, really, I've had some wonderful conversations with people that have really opened up to me about personal struggles that nobody's talking about.
Absolutely.
And I'm inspired to share my story. You know, I'm going on 17 months sober, and I 17 months ago, I died.
Awesome.
I died, and I thank God I came back to life.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I had a wicked PTSD from the fire department of doing 20 years and stuff, and I just remember living in silence and not sharing and opening up to people, and like, you know, if I can carry a message from people, like carry a message to other people out there that, you know, to open up and ask for help, and that was
absolutely,
you know, and so I've really been having these amazing conversations with people and drawing that kind of content out of them and sharing it to help others. And again, I don't think it would have had, I don't think the impact of what I was trying to do would have worked without having a proper setup and having a proper team.
I totally agree.
So what you're doing is phenomenal, because you're helping people, you know, level up.
Absolutely.
And you've got the eye.
Yes.
You know, you can see the stuff. And
my goal is to help them. You know, I want to see everybody succeed just as much as I want to see my dad succeed, you know. He's obviously my dad, but I want to see everybody else succeed just like him, no matter what. And, you know, one thing that he's always taught me is you can't succeed without trying. Yeah. And with that comes failure. And, you know, I think that's what a lot of people don't see, is the failure side. You know, they see the social media side that's good. You know, they see you going out and doing a $120,000 job. But you didn't see what it took the week before, where we had no jobs.
Thank you for touching on that.
And so that's my thing is, you know, people are like, oh, you're so lucky with Glove Girls, but you don't see the backside of it, you know. I don't really make a paycheck from it. You know, I use the card every now and then. I have horses, and they got a big vet bill, you know, so sometimes I use it, but I don't really get a paycheck from that. Now, my media company, I do get, money from that, obviously, but I do it because I want to, and because I want to help them, but it doesn't always have to do with money. And I think in our industry, it's all about money, you know, and don't get me wrong, I'm money hungry. I want to make just as much as the next person.
Yeah, for sure.
But it not always what people see on the surface, you know, and that's a big thing in our industry, and in all industries, in all trades, that people are like, oh, I think I can go start a plumbing company. But it doesn't stop when you get home at 5 o'clock, you know, and it's the same with me. Like, I have phone calls, you know, from the time I get up to the time I go home. You know, at 8 o'clock at night, someone might be emailing me, and I'm emailing back. People don't understand that when you're trying to grow a company.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, man, you touched on so much stuff when you're talking about that. Like, you know, entrepreneurs, they have the thought, passion, the money to back it up, the time and energy to put into everything, and then being able to learn hard lessons. Like, maybe you can share, was there any hard lessons that you didn't see, didn't know, and you're like, oh man, where did that come from? And it just smoked you, and you're like, shit.
To be honest with you, the money of it. You know, like, I was very fortunate that my dad did help me. You know, he bought my first shipment of gloves that was not cheap. And he didn't want anything in return. You know, he was doing it for me. Well, then, you know, okay, I sell a box for $16, you know, and compared to my competitors who sell them for $30. Well, then, you know, you start getting all the costs. So I do free shipping, too. So I eat the shipping costs.
Oh, wow.
So it comes out of my margins. And, you know, it was hard, because it was a learning lesson on the fact of, you know, I see why nobody's that cheap. But we still want to be that cheap, so we did up at the dollar like I was talking about before. But that one hit us pretty hard. You know, the shipping costs doubling, we didn't expect that. You know, and
That's
so
huge.
Then it's like, you know, but I've already made a name of myself. Everybody knows I do free shipping, you know. Just here, they're like, you know, everybody's talking about, oh, Glove Girls, where's your booth, you know, and they'll tell their friends, oh, yeah, she does free shipping. Like, that's kind of my model, you know, and so I can't really go back on it now and start charging shipping, because then I'm getting into the same price range as my competitors, and that was not our goal. So I would say that was kind of a slap in the face when I opened my, you know, website one day and it told me it was $45 to ship to the same guy I've been shipping to a year, you know, in Michigan, that was $20 a week ago.
Wow.
And it never changed. It hasn't fluctuated. It's only gone up.
Yeah.
And every time I open it, I hold my breath because I'm like, is it going to be more today? And so that was definitely a slap in the face with shipping.
Yeah, man, I don't know about here, but like back home, man, I go to the grocery store and grab like 10 items and it's like $150.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what
Yes.
is going on?
Yeah.
And then that's the thing too. I'm also finding in my businesses as well is all these costs are coming in that we're having to take on. Well, I can't. There's only so much I can eat.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then it gets to a point where it's like the customer can't even afford the service anymore.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
So then they're going with some, guy they found wherever, and,
Yes.
and that guy's doing some shit ass work, and
Yep.
then
We see it every day with my dad's company.
Yep.
He'll lose a bid, and then we're going to fix it the next day.
It's hilarious when that happens.
Yeah.
It's hilarious when that happens.
Yeah.
So give me three non-negotiables that you live by in business and personally, and they could intermix.
The biggest one that I've been trying to get into is you do have to fail to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I grew up doing all-star cheer. And, our motto in cheer was if you weren't first, you were last. Second place was the first last place.
Yeah.
That was failure.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if you went out there and had the best routine of your life, you failed.
Yeah.
And so growing up like that, I did cheer for 11 years.
Wow.
So getting into the business side of it, the little things that are happening, and I'm like, well, that's going to fail. That's going to fail. I took it as personally, and my dad keeps telling me, he's like, the biggest people fail first. The people that are millionaires, they failed first.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the first thing that I have to fail to succeed. And that was a really big one that I'm still trying to learn. And then all in God's plan. That's a big one too.
Oh, wow, I love it.
Veterinarian wasn't in my path. Glove Girls has been in my path. Now it's kind of going to the media side. I have that niche in the home service company. I love doing things for home service companies, whether it's a plumbing company, an HVAC company, a septic company, whatever it might be. And then the third one, go for it. And that's my motto this year, is go for it all.
I love it.
No matter what it is in life, in, my horses, in, work, go for it all.
You nailed it, because you know what this year is.
It's the year of the horse. Absolutely.
Yeah, you talk my language. So
Yeah.
like you say, go big or go home. And
Go
it's
big or go home.
And I go back to this. Like I just said, I'm going for it.
Absolutely.
And having like some, bit of negative self-talk. Well, anybody, like, how's it gonna be? And it's like, man, I've had nothing but love come my way.
Yep.
It's just been so beautiful. I'm doing this out of passion. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm not making money on this.
No.
I'm getting the message out.
Yeah, absolutely.
To help others,
Mm-hmm.
and I truly want to help others, and that's why I'm trying to get everybody to share this content so that there's some real legit shit that we're talking about people, and I want to help people. Because I've lost friends to things that I shouldn't have,
and so have we.
Yeah.
Like my dad's lost friends in the plumbing world that, from actual life to, friendships.
Yep.
And I've watched that the hard way, and I don't want that to be what I walk into.
Yeah.
I'm only 21,
Yep.
and I started this at 18. And so I have a lot of years left.
Oh, yeah.
And I've met a lot of friends. Yeah, they're my dad's friends, but they're my friends too now. And I don't want to see that happen in the future. At my generation is, it's a struggle in my generation living. And like you were talking about cost, like how do we live?
Yeah.
And so I don't want that to happen to our generation as well.
Yeah, and you talk about the generation. Like I wanted to have Drew, Luke, and Kate down here at the WET convention, where they had sports and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, I get it. You got a hockey tournament, you got this and that, but like you guys aren't playing pro or nothing. Like come here. Like I really want to get them. I want to get them inspired here. And I'll catch them down the next year. But we're trying to get down to the Con Expo.
Oh
in Vegas,
okay,
right? And I really want to inspire them to be like, man, there's some wild shit going on over here, and getting passionate about something.
Absolutely, yep. And that's the biggest thing. You have to have the drive and the passion for it. If you don't, that's not the path for you. And that's kind of like the God's plan thing. You know, if you do it because you have to, or because that's what you think you have to do, like college. You know, a lot of kids, their parents tell them they have to go to college. And when I graduated 4 years ago, it was still a big thing. You know? And I was very fortunate that my parents didn't make me go, and they let me go on the path that I was here to do. But nowadays, I think it's a little less pushed on kids, just because I think it's being more seen, but it still is a thing, you know, oh, you have to go to college, you have to have a degree to be successful. It's so not true.
You're nailing it, you know, because we were all taught like this thing, you know, you got to pass high school, you got to go to college or university, you got to get a degree, then you go get a job, you get married, get a friggin' mortgage, work till you're 60, then you go on vacation. It's like, wrong, like, that's not, like, by the time you get to 60, man, you're almost cooked.
Right?
Absolutely. So go out and live your best life. Be an entrepreneur. Get passionate about something. Be inspired, man, because there's so much going on out there. And just, I love how you're saying that. And again, I back up what you were saying, and I totally agree with it. If you are in something that requires like a vet, that you have to go to right? That's non-negotiable. You're not getting the license.
Absolutely.
So
if you're gonna be a doctor, you have to go to school.
You have to, right? So I'm not saying nothing about that, but like, you know, that was the discussion too about my son Drew taking the business course. I'm like, dude, do you think that guy is going to teach you business of what I've gone through?
Better than a successful business owner.
Better than a successful business owner. And I'm like, man, you can't. Not that you can't. I hated doing schoolwork. I hated doing assignments. I hated sitting in class. I was falling asleep. I'm like, man, I go, you really think you're going to be able to pull that off? And then, so what I did is I ChatGPT'd a whole plan of a business plan. And then I did going to college. And the numbers were undeniable when you see it. And he's like, yeah, Dad, you're right. But like, I had a lot of resistance in the family about that decision. And I said, okay, well, maybe if you really want the best of both worlds, he does an online night exam or night thing. But he's not that guy to sit down there and be disciplined to do that. So why waste your time? And and again, there's so much information at your fingertips right now you can get that you don't need to go into college to necessarily get. So,
and you know, one of the things I get asked literally every single day as an entrepreneur is, do you like regret not going to college because you missed out on the experience? Because, you know, everyone's like, oh, you have to go experience the college experience, you know this. I lived it through my best friends. You know, one of them went to Missouri, one of them went to LSU, and then one of them went to ASU just right down the road. I just would go and visit them. You know, and for me, I'm not a party girl. I am so not that way. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock, asleep by 10, you know, on a Friday, Saturday night. And so I can go, I can have fun with them for a weekend, and I can come home back into my routine. And, you know, the college life just wasn't for me. And so, I got to experience it, you know. I still got the experience with them, with my best friends, you know. But then I got to come home. And, you know, for college, you know, it's 4 years, and it might even be longer. You know, engineering could be 5 years. Doctors could be 10 years, you know. My thing is, you know, now that I'm 21, everyone in my grade's graduating this year in May. You know, I've had the 4 years
ahead of them
to experience life, to learn things. You know, they're just getting out of college, and now they have to almost restart where I started when I was 18. You know, and so, which is fine. That if that is what they wanted to do, I support my best friends 100%. You know, like if that they wanted to go to college, absolutely, that's what they wanted to do. But for me, you know, it was 4 years of I could do everything I wanted to do. I've already grown a name for myself. You know, coming out here, everyone's like, oh yeah, like my dad I used to be known as Mark's daughter. And now it's funny because it's Kylie's dad. You know, when I come, he's like, oh, you're Kylie's dad. He's like, you know, because that was always the thing. Because now everyone knows me as Glove Girls and Hard Hat Honey Media. And so, you know, that's the thing is I've made a name for myself in the 4 years, whereas they have to restart kind of now their life. And, you know, which is fine again. But for me, I would rather have started 4 years ago to be where I am today. I'm
really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing amazing. Crush it. Don't hold back. Just go.
Go for it all.
It's year of the horse, everyone. Giddy up. Okay, Kylie, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.